1, 2.
I said microphone check.
1, 2. Can't nobody out here do it like me. Ain't nobody out here winning like me. Can't nobody out here do it like me. Just like me, like me. Can't nobody out here do it like me. Ain't nobody out here winning like me. Can't nobody out here do it like me. Just like me, like me.
All right. Well, Joey, we were not expecting to be on here right now. And breaking news, the Chicago Bears officially traded Justin Fields to the Pittsburgh Steelers for probably one of the lowest draft compensations I would have thought. 6th-round pick in 2025, so it's not even this year's 6th-round pick, but it could be a 4th-round pick if he plays 51% of the snaps, which, unless Russell Wilson is just absolutely terrible, I don't see that happening. But Joey, what are your thoughts on this whole situation, man?
It's mind blowing. Like, it's absolutely mind blowing. It's like low key, like, I knew it was happening. Like we've been talking in our group for some time now, and I said, like, I have a feeling Steelers are going to trade for Fields. That's where I think Fields was going to go the whole time. It was either Fields or it was going to be the Patriots. There was no other team that he was going to go to. But it's like, I was not expecting Fields to be traded for a 6th-round pick to a potential 4th-rounder. Like, it's like I feel like the Bears low key did Justin Fields dirty, but then kind of makes sense because 1, Justin Fields unfollowed everything from the Bears, and then 2, he posted something on Instagram talking about he's in Italy right now, saying that he doesn't, his phone's going off. He doesn't want to be bothered by social media or anything.
Well, you're going to be bothered when he gets back.
Yeah, it's mind blowing.
Yeah, I'm not going to lie. We just talked about this on Thursday night on this same show about potential situation with Justin. Keenan Allen, the news broke about him coming to the Bears, and then Turtle and I were on, and Turtle basically said that he took that as a sign that they were going to move on from Justin. Turns out he was right, per usual. Bravo, Turtle, on that one. You look at a guy in Justin who, career with the Bears, 60% completion, 6,674 yards, 40 touchdowns, 30 interceptions, 82.3 passer rating. I know there's going to be a lot of heat on, we did the right thing, this and that. And we talked about it last night. I don't care who the guy is that they bring in, but I wanted it to be somebody that was going to I want them to do it right. I wanted this to be the right move, right? And it feels like Ryan Poles is all in on Caleb Williams. For me, that feels like you're looking at a coaching staff that'll be there for at least 3 seasons. Because, unless you're the Bears and do what you continuously do and fire a quarterback or a coach the first year after a rookie quarterback, which would just be so frustrating. But I really think, right now as Bears fans, we know which direction to go now, right? You don't just sit here and keep complaining about Justin. Well, I'm not going to be a Bears fan because Justin's not on the team. Like, I root for the Bears. That's my team. So Caleb Williams is the quarterback. Justin Fields is the quarterback. Jane Daniels is the quarterback. I don't care who the quarterback is. I just wanted them to get this right. And
absolutely.
That's all we can do right now.
Yeah. We have a clear vision now, because that's what it was. Everyone's vision was very cloudy. Everyone was like, they assumed, we kept assuming like this, they could go here or they're going to do this. It was always back and forth. But now it's like, here, boom, they came out, they hit us today on one of the greatest day ever, shout out to Stone Cold Steve Austin. But it's like, you think it's like, how long did Poles know about this? Did they already have this plan come out? Like, is that why Justin, Field took off to Italy and said all that? Like, it's a lot of, like I said, I wonder, why? But at the end of the day, like, all right, we got it done. Fields was not our guy. There's a reason why a lot of teams pulled back from Fields after, like we talked about before, where everyone was so on the Fields train, and all of a sudden now people weren't. So it's like, okay, now is it going to be Caleb? Because if I recall, Caleb hasn't met with no teams besides the little 10-minute interview, but they spent a lot of time with Daniels, and then I'm not sure about Drake May. So it's like, okay, what's going to happen? Like, where are we going? So I'm very curious to see what's going to happen these next few days, especially on the pro day for Caleb on Wednesday, I believe, the 20th.
Yeah.
So,
and we talked about it on Thursday when we did the show about, well, maybe it's not Caleb Williams, and what are the odds that it could be somebody else? Could the Bears still look, because they only have 4 draft picks right now, could they still look at trading back 1 space, 2 spots, get a guy like Jaden Daniels, and then get some much needed draft capital? I think this is the writing on the wall. Caleb Williams is the guy. The Bears are going to move forward with him, and they'll end up probably trading that number 9 pick to try to recoup some of this draft capital, because you didn't recoup anything with the Fields trade for this season, at least.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like Poles is going to do something to get more trade capital. I mean, like you said, we gave away, we traded. We didn't get nothing for Fields for this year. So it's like, what does he have up his sleeve? He's got to have something. We picked up Swift. We still got, 4 other running backs on the team who was like, what's going to happen with them? The number 9 pick, again, like I said, I'm hoping we do keep it, because I would love to go and get Neighbors, who I think is going to be a legit monster, or a tackle to give Caleb some more time. But again, I think so too. I think they're going to trade a pick to get more. So
I think the reason, now that I kind of look at the situation and I can step back from the quarterback argument now that we know that it's going to be more than likely Caleb Williams, you brought in Keenan Allen, right? He's on a 1-year deal because he's a free agent at the end of the year. So now this is a scenario where I feel like, okay, they're going to look to next draft for a wide receiver to bring in. Then maybe they'll try to get an extension done with Allen, but I haven't heard any talks about that at this point. But then you're sitting at a spot where, okay, you move back at 9, where are you going to go? The Vikings are going to look to trade up. They're going to need a quarterback. They got 2 picks. You could do a lot of different things with this number 9 pick, but you have so many needs on this team still. Offensive line, you need an edge rush. It's going to be at least we know the quarterback scenario, right? So now we're down to 3 picks that they have, because the number 1 pick is going to go to Caleb Williams.
No, I agree. I do feel like I said, I listened to what Keenan Allen said today, and it does sound like Keenan Allen wants an extension. He said that he didn't want to, he was upset with the Chargers because he had his best year last year, and they just basically they wanted him to restructure, like give him much money. He's like, are you serious? And with us having that money, I think we do sign, Allen to at least minimum 2 years. But I don't know. I do kind of have a feeling that we're gonna trade the 9th pick, get more picks, but I feel like we're gonna grab a receiver. I mean, there's the receiving class this year is ridiculous. Like, there's so many good receivers. I mean, yeah, of course they're not Harrison or Neighbors or Dunze, but I mean, hey, like I'm confident enough the Bears are gonna grab a receiver and a good receiver. So
yeah, it is a deep receiver class. So if you move back from 9, you hope to recoup an early 2nd round pick or a middle 2nd round pick, probably. But this does signify to me that they're probably going to trade that number 9 pick at this point. And then you got to go and look at the mock drafts, you know what I mean? And see where certain edge rushers, I know they need to shore up the offensive line a little bit more. You don't want to bring in your rookie quarterback and have him running for his life. We just watched that for 3 seasons with Justin Fields, and we watched how that worked. You know, with Justin Field or with Caleb Williams, you're looking at a guy, you know, last year in college, he threw for north of 3,000 yards, 30 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, and an 82.4 QBR. I mean, they've talked about it. Is this guy the next Patrick Mahomes? I want to, you know, pump the brakes on that. The last thing I want to do is, I feel like when you put those kind of expectations on any player, you know, oh, the next Michael Jordan or the next Patrick Mahomes.
You're giving yourself high expectations, and then if we don't meet those expectations, we're shooting ourselves in the foot. So it's like
right. Then everybody turns on the athlete. You know what I mean?
Then it's like, oh, we should have kept Justin Fields. You know, we this and that. We told you so. Like, so it's like I'm just hoping for the best. Like I want a quarterback that can come in and beat the damn Packers. That's what I want.
Me too. And you know, I think you don't have to be mad at this situation, right? I know a lot of Bears fans, it was real divisive this whole offseason. But like we talked about a couple of weeks ago, man, like when Justin got hurt, people were all ready to throw Tyson Bagent into the game and have him be the starter the rest of the season. So like this was already a situation where Fields was kind of on the rocks with this organization. And then as the year progressed, the more you knew that Carolina was going to give the Bears that first overall pick, the writing was kind of on the wall that they're going to take a quarterback. The only thing is, I think most people thought with the way Fields played after the injury that he was going to be able to, you know, make a case for himself. I do think if they would have beat the Packers at the end of the season, I think Fields is still here. But the fact that they lost to the Packers after the momentum that they had the last few weeks of the season, that's what they want. They need to beat the Packers. The Bears need to beat the Packers. That should be their – you can't make the playoffs. I mean, you can, but it's more consistent to make the playoffs when you can win your division, right? You're guaranteed a spot if you win your division. To do that, you have to beat the teams in your division, and the Bears have not beaten the Green Bay Packers. And the Packers are a team that look to be on the rise, as much as we didn't want to admit it during the season, and I hate the Green Bay Packers with a passion. There's Jordan Love. He played well towards the end of the season. That team looked like to be on the come up. You got Detroit, who's playing really well. I mean, you got Minnesota, who's Minnesota. They're just getting rid of everybody, so they'll probably be the bottom barrel of the division. But now you put Caleb Williams in there with these weapons, and the quarterback duo, or the wide receiver duo that the Bears have, I put that up against any wide receiver duo in the NFL right now, maybe other than Cincinnati. But you know,
yeah,
Cincinnati's got
Jamar
Chase.
Even with saying that, I mean, Cincinnati are falling apart. I mean, Higgins is pissed. He doesn't even want to be there anymore.
Right, but I mean, unfortunately, he's probably. Oh, we got our resident Steelers fan jumping on. Mike, what's up, man?
What's going on, guys?
Nothing. We're just talking about the not really great big news. Yeah, right. Justin getting traded. We were talking about the wide receiver duo that Caleb's going to inherit by the trade for Keenan Allen. Now you got DJ Moore, guys like Cole Kmet. You know, what are your thoughts on, does this kind of take the Bears out of contention for a top flight wide receiver in the draft? Because you would think they got to trade that 9th pick now to recap some of this draft capital.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a good point, but I don't know. There's something to this whole, you know, Caleb Williams publicly talking about, you know, his relationship with Neighbors, and Neighbors has been publicly saying his chemistry with Caleb. And I mean, if you're taking a dude number 1 overall, I feel like you're trying to surround him with as much as you could possibly surround him with and make him as happy as you could possibly make him at the same time. And I think if you can get Neighbors, I think the way I would go about it is the whole trading up to get a receiver. I feel like that should be out the window. I think you just stay at 9. If one of them fall to you at 9, then take them. But if they're both gone, then I like trading that pick. But I mean, yeah, we got Keenan Allen, but remember, like, he's gonna be 32. He's older. I mean, we got DJ Moore. You know, it would be nice if can you imagine, a team with Caleb and DJ Moore and Neighbors as like a future core going forward. I mean, like, you had Peyton Manning and Marvin Harrison, Reggie Wayne for how many years? Like, you're kind of putting two future stud wide receivers with Caleb Williams instead of a future wide receiver with a rental player.
Right. You added DeAndre Swift, which will help take some pressure off of Caleb to start. Shane Waldron's the new OC over there, so I'm interested to see how they tailor this offense to Caleb and his strengths. He does play a similar game to Justin. I don't think he runs as much as Justin, but he's got similar weaknesses as Justin. But again, once you kind of knew that the Bears were locked in at that number one spot because of the Panthers, and you looked at Justin Fields' contract, and you had this opportunity to get a rookie quarterback, reset that quarterback clock. A lot of teams find success early when they reset the quarterback clock, like Seattle did, like the Kansas City Chiefs did. And now you're putting yourself in a situation where you have 4 years with this guy where he's really not going to destroy your cap. You can keep building around him these next 4 years and really put yourself in a position to be a perennial playoff team going forward for the foreseeable future.
Yeah, and so I know I've been very vocal on being pretty big on Caleb. And I can see why a lot of people would be hesitant on why, just when you look at some of his big games, he struggled in them. But he did play a couple of teams that were top probably 10, top 15 defenses in the college, and he put 350 plus on them, couple touchdowns, little interceptions. But I do agree that he did struggle against some of those bigger teams, and I get that's why a lot of people are very hesitant on if Caleb is going to be worth all the hype. The reason why I think he will be is when I watch college football, like I watch the NFL, I watch it religiously. And when I see this guy play, I feel like the Bears' problem at developing quarterbacks, the reason why the Bears have struggled so much is because they never know what kind of system to run with their quarterback. Like Fields, they started on early, and Mitch, they did his entire career here, where they essentially tried making him a pocket passer. They came out and even said, Mitch is a pocket passer, so we're trying to draw plays to keep him in the pocket. Where no, he's not. He's not a pocket passer. You need to let him use his legs and extend him out and throw on the run. And Fields is kind of that same way. And they don't draw off the plays in the system to really fit to those quarterbacks' needs. And so now you kind of say, okay, well, what's going to be different about Caleb Williams then? The thing that's great about Caleb Williams is he can run with his legs. He can throw from the pocket. He can throw with pressure in his face. Like whatever system you decide to run with Caleb, he can do it. He's literally, they say, he's like a Lamar Jackson, Patrick Mahomes, and Josh Allen all in one, because he's got the arm strength, he's got the running, and he's got the pocket presence. So instead of getting these guys who they can only extend plays out of the pocket and they're only comfortable outside the pocket, Caleb Williams is a guy where if you want him to go out of the pocket and make a throw on the run, fine. If you want him to stay in the pocket and make a throw from there, fine. Like, it's kind of hard to not put Caleb Williams in the right system because he can beat you in so many different ways.
Yeah, I think we should temper the expectations a little bit on what
definitely.
The pundits are out there saying he's the next Patrick Mahomes, and if we automatically throw that on him, then anything less than Patrick Mahomes fans are going to go crazy for, right? Like, oh, this guy sucks. He was supposed to be this, blah, blah, blah. Like, why don't we just say, hey, let's hope that he's a great Caleb Williams. You know what I mean? Let's hope that this dude comes in here and he can handle this offense, win the division, make the playoffs, and make some noise in the playoffs, because it's been a long time since the Bears have realistically been serious playoff contenders. And I think that with the offense they have now, this might be the best offense this team has had weaponry-wise since Oh man, when Cutler had Forte, Marshall,
And Jeffrey.
Jeffrey, Martellus Bennett, you know,
Both.
that was a good offense. So
And
you're looking at similar situation here.
And I agree with you what you said. Like that's the thing too. Like Michael and I had a lot of back and forth about this whole situation. And it's like, okay, like I listened. Like I listened. Okay, I'm gonna hear you out. So I went back and I did. Like I have no expectations on Caleb. I just want to win. My biggest worries is the red flags that's drawn to him from the off season. Like that's what I don't like. That's just like damn. Like this is becoming a little too much. Like, what's going to happen? Is he as good as or is he going to be a bust? And I don't want that. I never want to wish anything bad on anybody. Like, I want the kid to succeed, especially if he's going to come to the Bears. Like, I want the best. I want to start winning. But like, it's just that's my thing. This season. I'm not where I know he could play. Obviously, if he couldn't play, he wouldn't be projected to go number one. He wouldn't be even being considered to be a Josh Allen or a Patrick Mahomes or Lamar Jackson, like any of them. So it's like that's not the window. Like I'm not even worried about that. He obviously has a talent. I'm more focused and worrying and scratching my head about the red flags that's being thrown about even his father making all those noise. He wants to have ownership of a team, which we don't know if that's true or not. Or the whole why is he giving out his medical records, and he doesn't want to talk to any teams. He just wants to, you could see him and do what you can see with his pro day, like stuff like that. That's what's like kind of bothering me a little bit. Like why? Like I'm scratching my head.
So this is what I'm gonna say about that real quick. If he's great, that stuff doesn't matter. Look at Aaron Rodgers and how outrageous he was in Green Bay the last few seasons, but he was good enough to kind of push that noise aside because he was leading the Packers to the playoffs every single season. Or, other guys that have had bad reps, but they perform. The NFL has shown you that they don't care about that. I think the Bears looked at this situation and they were like, hey, we missed on Patrick Mahomes. And I know I said I didn't want to talk about that because it's not the same regime, but they also did miss on CJ Stroud. And I don't know if Stroud's going to be that guy the next few years. He played really well this offseason. But then you just look in your own division, right? And you have Jordan Love, who played fantastic football the second half of this season. You look at the Lions, who have a veteran quarterback in Jared Goff, who's led teams to the Super Bowl, led his team to the NFC Championship game. Like, your Justin Fields, now looking, because Kirk Cousins is off Minnesota, would have been the fourth best quarterback in his own division, right? Now, obviously, that's different, but I think this puts Caleb in that conversation. If he can come in and step in and play well, there's going to be a competition in this division, and hopefully the Bears can, win a few against the Packers in the division and win the division, hopefully by this, and then make the playoffs this season, because I am tired of missing the playoffs.
Yeah, and I also will say, to the point of the medical records and all that, a lot of top prospects, it is very common for them to kind of say they only will release their medical records or want to talk to, like maybe like the top team, whoever has the number one pick or the top three picks. Like I could be mistaken on this, but I think he said that he refused to give it to all top 10 teams. And unless I read that story wrong, but I'm almost positive that's what it was. And if that's the case,
he was only going to give it to the top 3 teams.
Yeah. So yeah, exactly. So that's pretty common when that you're going to go in the top 3, in the top 3, like you're going to only give it to those top 3 people. So stuff like that is pretty common. And then his dad can say anything he wants about wanting ownership and all that. Like I'm sure DeAndre Swift would love ownership of the Bears too, but he's not getting it. So I mean,
Right.
like you can say it all you want. It doesn't really mean a whole lot. But he does have that attitude issue. But look how many quarterbacks that were great that people were worried about their attitude and their demeanor and their maturity. But as soon as you come into the NFL, like it's not college anymore. It's a different animal, and you have coaches that whip your ass into shape real quick. And I mean, look at Baker Mayfield. When he came in, everyone talked about just him and his attitude and his arrogancy and all of that. And, I think Baker Mayfield has really come a long way a lot maturity wise. And
Mhm.
he went from like a most really bad hated player to like a very respectful player where you see people actually cheering for him. So I think things like little things like that, I think can get fixed with coaching, once they get into
Now,
the NFL.
yeah, and what the last thing I know, I wanted to make this kind of quick for us guys. I don't want to go too much longer. But the last thing about that is if you look at the pieces that are on the offense, it has become a more veteran type of offense, right? You got guys like DJ Moore who have been in the league for a while. Keenan Allen has been in the league for a long time. Cole Kmet is kind of coming into his own. You have a running back that's, a little bit older. Your offensive line got a couple pieces that were older guys that are on there. So like you're surrounding Caleb with a lot of veteran guys that are going to be able to help guide this kid to keep him grounded, hopefully. And then you look at it, we might be, that might be the best situation for him going forward. You always talk about where these guys are drafted. And I think he's in the best position any Bears quarterback in the last 10 years has been in terms of set up for success.
Yeah, and not only that, I think a big thing that we're also really forgetting, and and I really think it's a great point to say is, for a while we used to always have those great defenses, and then we kind of struggled, and we didn't, we kind of lost though that Bears defense that we were used to seeing, and a lot, under Fields era, even Mitch's era, we had, it just seemed like the Bears defense was giving up points, and it just seemed like the Bears are playing from behind a lot, which when that happens, it forces that quarterback to throw a lot. And that can also really impact the value of that player and, their stats and, how they're looking, to the public. Now we have, not only do we have, all these offensive weapons that you just kind of went over, we also have arguably probably a top 5 defense in the NFL potentially. So we have a defense that could also limit the offense in points. So now we just need a quarterback that could lead an offense to, not turn the ball over, extend the chains, move the ball, not make where your defense is on the field for so long. And, Fields is a great quarterback. I'm a huge Fields fan. I'm even wearing my Fields jersey. I have nothing but love for him, but he holds on to the ball too long. He doesn't trust his reads. He's an elite runner, but when it comes to like needing to pass the ball and needing to make a play, we're just got to be honest with it. He just struggles with it. And knowing that it's going to come down to having to pick up that 5th-year option, and that 5th-year option is going to cost you right around $26 million. I mean, what has he done really, whether it's his fault or not? What has he done to prove to us he's worth $26 million? So,
Right.
People keep saying that, well, he's only getting paid $3 million this year. Well, yeah, this year, but if you're making a point to say he's your quarterback going forward, you're going to be paying him $26 million to pick up his 5th-year option. And he hasn't done enough of that to prove it. We see too many 3-and-outs by the Bears. We see the defense on the field a lot. And now, with this move and the free agency moves we made, we potentially have a Bears team where we can see them run a top 5 defense with an offense with legit weapons that can actually move the ball down the field, where it's not just, 3-and-out, first down, punt. It just actually see them look like an NFL offense for once. They have
an offensive line that's played pretty well.
Right.
I'm not saying they were great, but they have improved. This might be the best offensive line that the last 2 quarterbacks have had. So, on that note, guys,
Packers suck.
Packers suck. And we're going to get this wrapped. Thank you guys.
So now we just got to see
Thank you guys for
the triple threat match. Who's going to get number 13?
Yeah, true. Yeah, that's right. Because now there's 3 guys on the Bears with 13.
Well, here let's also remember something. Like, I don't think this automatically means it's a 100% done deal. They go Caleb. I would not be shocked if they might see like a guy like Jaden Daniels or Bo Nix that they're okay getting later, and not saying I think they're going to go that route, but even to number 2, with the Commanders, where they can still have options at quarterback there too. So I wouldn't necessarily say it's a done deal that, that the Bears go Caleb either. I think it's a pretty fair bet that they are, but I don't put anything past Poles at this point.
Yeah. But I want to thank all the people for tuning in. We had some good views today. We will be back next week, and I'll be back on my regular Thursday night slot. We'll have a couple other shows next week. But we just wanted to jump on, talk a little bit about this situation with Fields and Caleb Williams. You guys have a good St. Patrick's Day. Stay safe. Don't drink your feelings away if you're sad Justin's gone. Just go out there and have a good time. We will see you guys next week.